Welcome to Kicks and Minivans, the podcast for dads, especially the ones that love sneakers. I'm your host, KG, and I'm joined today by my bro, Anthony Washington. If you remember, he was a guest on episode 2, our first guest that we had on. Have him on more as a co-host today. We just wanted to dialogue about a topic that's been kind of heavy on my heart. So some things I feel like are just better as a dialogue, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just one talking head on there. So had to ask him to come on, so appreciate you joining, bro.
No problem, man. Thank you so much for having me. We ain't got a script. We just got a topic.
Nah.
And, the good thing this is pre-recorded.
We can go back and start over if it's terrible.
It's terrible. Like, did you just say that on camera? I'm going to edit that out. No.
I have all the power to edit, so... But bro, before we dive into the heavy stuff, as Philadelphia fans, we're recording this the night after the Super Bowl. And I shouldn't have even brought that up, bro.
Nah,
I'm like we're both...
Go on.
Listen, man.
Go on.
But there was another, in the NBA, there was a historic night not too long ago, like a week or two ago from when we're recording this. LeBron James set the all-time scoring record.
Yeah.
Past Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like a 40-year record. No one thought that record would ever be broken. And here LeBron is still going in year 20. Set the all-time scoring record. So he is the most points scored in NBA history. What I thought would be fun is test your knowledge. Can you give me the top 10 scorers in NBA history among active players? Active players only. Who are the top 10 leaders in active players? Number one's LeBron. You got that one. Right? So one is LeBron.
Okay.
Who are the rest? Let's see how many you could get out of...
Okay, I know Carmelo was one.
Carmelo... He's technically active. He's not signed anywhere. He's technically active. So I'm going to give you that. He's number 2 out of the active. He's got over 28,000 points, so he's number 2.
Okay, so I know Carmelo is one because I'm a Carmelo fan. And I remember saying something not too long ago about his scoring record. Okay.
Yeah, I believe he's 9th all-time of all players, but 2nd among active. Even though he ain't signed nowhere yet right now.
I just saw something that Chris Paul won him on the Suns.
Chris Paul is number 6 if you count Carmelo, number 5 if you don't count Carmelo. So he is one of them.
Yeah, Chris Paul.
He's been balling for a minute.
And I know that because I'm thinking like everybody that came in like LeBron's class and not too far after, right? So
right. CP3 came, I think, 2 or 3 years after Bron.
Okay. Yeah, so
they have to have been balling for a minute.
Let's Kawhi Leonard.
No.
Okay.
He's a part-time player, bro.
Yo, that's so funny. Yo, he only played 30 games a season.
I mean, really though, he's amazing. He's flat out amazing when he plays.
Yes.
But no, he's not in the top 12 or 15 of active players.
Let me see then. Paul George?
PG is 10. If you don't count Carmelo, I'm going to give you LaMarcus Aldridge.
Okay, I wasn't going to say him at all.
He's technically active still. He's not signed with anybody. But he's in there. But Paul George, if you take away Carmelo and LaMarcus and say guys that are only signed, Paul George is 10 on the list.
Okay.
So you got LeBron, you got CP3, you got Paul George right now.
Is Jimmy Butler?
There's some obvious ones. Jimmy Butler's not.
Dang, I'm really lost.
Jimmy is not.
I'm really lost.
Bro, there's a couple obvious ones you are going to be smacking yourself in the face.
Not Embiid. Like Embiid. Not Embiid.
No, not Embiid. He hasn't played enough.
He ain't played in long, right? Yeah. James Harden?
James Harden is 3rd among active players.
Okay. James Harden.
He's got over 24,000 right now.
KD?
KD is 2nd among active players.
Yes.
26 something.
How about Kyrie?
No.
No, okay.
He's lower on the list.
Steph Curry?
Steph Curry's 7. Okay. Steph Curry is 7.
Steph Curry.
So,
all right, give me a hint. Are they West or East?
West, East, West. And I'll be honest, I don't even know where this dude plays right now. I think West. So 1 East and a couple West.
Not Giannis. I wouldn't say Giannis, right?
He's 11 though.
He is 11. He's right on.
He's 11. Yeah, he's right on the cusp.
Not Jimmy.
Boy's averaging like 30 a game.
Nobody on Celtics because they young balls.
Nah, they young.
Yeah, nobody. Dame.
Dame is 8.
Okay.
Dame Lillard's 8. He's got 18,000.
Anthony Davis?
Right. Nah, he was in the teens though.
Yeah, he a part-time player too.
The boy cannot stay injured. He sneezes and he breaks a leg.
Mr. Glass, bro. Russell Westbrook?
Uh-huh.
Really? How many bricks he puts up?
He's fourth among active. Boy, averaged like 30 a game when he was in OKC, though.
Right. He was Mr. Triple-Double.
Mr. Triple-Double.
Yeah.
30-point triple-doubles like every single night. So he's got over 24,000 career points. The other two, I'm not sure if you'll get. DeMar DeRozan is 6.
Okay.
And then 9th, I wouldn't have guessed this one, but Rudy Gay.
I don't even know who that is.
He's a baller. He was a bucket back in the day. I think he's averaging like 4 points a game right now.
Rudy, are you talking about from the center? From Jazz? He ain't in the Jazz no more. Not Rudy. Gobert. No, that's Gobert.
He's played. No, that's Gobert. No. Yeah. Rudy Gay, he's played for like half the league, I think. He was with the Spurs is where I remember him the most from. I don't even know where he's playing right now. He might be with the Jazz, actually. I could be completely wrong. Last time you came on the show, I always have guests show off some of their kicks.
Yeah.
Last time you started like preaching from the jump. Like I welcomed you and you like went in. And we never got to look.
I was picked up. Let me loose.
He was ready to go. So we didn't get a chance to check out any of your kicks. So show us something you got. What's some of your favorite pairs you wearing?
Favorite pairs I'm wearing altogether. Well, here is my, I guess, out of all my sneakers, I've come to be a Jordan 5 guy, and here are my raging bulls. I've probably only worn these 4 times since I purchased them for my birthday of last year.
Keep them pristine.
My birthday's in January. I was on a red binge. I bought this. I bought a red Xbox controller, which is still in the box, by the way. Waste of money. And I bought like something else red. Those were crazy. And I think I bought like a Hot Wheel car that was supposed to be red, like a truck, because I'm a pickup truck guy. So I bought like a red pickup truck or Hot Wheels, something crazy. But yeah, I'm a Jordan guy. But my everyday comfortable, I like shoe, I'm a Kyrie guy. I like the Kyrie lows.
Really? For the comfort?
Yo, they're just
they're so like, uncomfortable to me.
But see, not one time you had gifted me a pair for my wedding, right? As a wedding gift, right?
Right.
Not those. And that's not to say those are not comfortable. I cherish those sneakers, so I don't wear them a lot. But the lows, the sunsets,
okay, some of the lows, yeah.
Yeah.
I know which ones you're talking about. Yeah. I know which ones you're talking about.
They just dumb comfortable. When I first get them, like I don't wear socks with them or nothing. Like they just like street slippers. Like they're just awesome.
Well, and you were a PG guy for a minute too.
Oh, yeah. And kind of still am.
The Paul Georges took off. I think it was the PG 3s. Were like at one point in time the most worn sneakers among NBA players.
Yeah, Dave Jones.
And now crazy. I feel like they fell off like so hard.
The PG4s were horrible. The PG4s,
like they're all ugly now.
They had like a skin with a zipper. Like I don't know what the heck was going on, bro.
And now they got like
I was so disappointed.
they just look weird now, man. The latest ones, like I just nah. But the older models, like the 2s, the 3s, like those were those were pretty dope.
2s. Yeah, I still wear those 1s, 2s, 2.5s, and the 3s.
That's right. I forgot they had the 2.5s too.
Yeah, the 2.5s, the one with the straps. I had 2 pair of those. I have 2 pair of those.
Right.
And I have a pair of 1s that I barely wear, which are still like brand new tight. You know how you get a sneaker that's tight to your foot because they brand new?
Yeah.
That's how they still fit because I don't wear them a lot. I got 2 pair of those. I got 1 2s, and I got 2 2.5s, and I got 1 pair of 3s. But here was the thing, though. I wore all my sneakers. Like, I wore all my sneakers, and I didn't cherish them. I even have a pair of 5s, blue and orange ones, that...
These ones right here.
Let me see. I don't...
These ones right here I got on the camera's cutting off on.
Oh, yes. Yo, those
the international flight.
Oh, my
Jordan
goodness.
5s. I threw these up on the shelf today because you were on, and I know you had them too.
Yeah,
but you've worn yours more often than I have.
Did I? I wasn't cherishing sneakers back then. I was just like, oh, they all right. I'm gonna wear them things. And if they happen to be comfortable, then I'll just throw them on. To be throwing them on, you know what I mean?
The 5s are comfortable, man.
I was throwing away the little plastic pieces. You know what I mean? Like April was, and she had bought me those, and she was getting on me like, you just destroyed those sneakers. I'm like, they're shoes. And so
shoes are meant to be worn, though. You know, so. I have certain pairs I take care of more than others, you know, and then there's other pairs, like I got a pair of Jordan 3s that's like the same color as these. They're just super comfortable. I bought them real cheap, and they're just my beaters. Like, I don't really care what happens to them as much. Yeah. They're comfortable, but they're J's, and, you know, they still look good, but I just kind of...
I still envy those yellow 4s you have, or had, or whatever.
Oh, I sold those.
Yeah. Oh, man, they so good.
I ended up selling those.
Yeah.
But I sold those to buy one of my dream pairs.
Right. Enough.
The Jordan 1 Turbo Green. So, the 4s became really uncomfortable to me. And so the only pair of 4s I got still is the Fire Red 4s. And I'll probably never sell them because they're the one that the Kicks and Minivans logo is based off of that one. So it's like I'm never going to sell those. But yeah, I sold the 4. There was just something about the Lightning 4s that was just super uncomfortable to me. Just my feet were hurting after wearing them for like an hour or two. So I ended up never wearing them. So I just sit by.
That's why I like the 5s. They're a real simple shoe. It ain't a whole lot going on in the inside of these things. Like some of my LeBrons, you put like LeBrons on, like I don't know what Nike's trying to do, but it'd be squeezing your foot in certain areas, not in other, like it's just weird. Like leave my foot alone. Let it just sit in the shoe. You know what I mean?
And the 5s are comfortable.
Yeah, they're just simple.
One of the more comfortable pairs of J's. The 3s are really comfortable. Mm-hmm. I find Jordan 3s really comfortable, and then some of the 12s and 13s.
That's a really good one. I was
wearing those. Yeah, the ones too, man.
I have some really good ones, and I think
ones are really comfortable too. They're
one of my favorite pair of Jordans. Favorite pair of Jordans are the 312s.
Dude,
the rookie of the year.
Like you and me are like the only people I know that have 312s.
Really?
But I swear, like I don't know anyone else that has them.
I tore my pair up because I like them so much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I will always wear them.
They are so comfortable, though.
Oh, my God. Yo.
And they're flat. Like, I only got 2 pairs of them right now. I had a 3rd pair, and I was just never wearing that color, so I sold that one. But I got the red pair that you had gifted me. And then I got the, I think the colorway's called Flip. But it's like the elephant print.
Yeah.
The animal print, John, on it. Like, oh, that's one of my favorite pairs of sneakers still.
Yeah. I want to get the 312 medicine balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was on my list to get, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, the resale price of those just like tripled as soon as I was ready to buy it. I was like,
I got the LeBron 16 medicine balls. I know you do. Yeah. Tore them things. Like, they're not the same color at all. They're not the same color no more. Oh, no. Mm-mm.
The last time I remember you wearing them was when we did that beach day right before we moved out here. That's the last time I remember I remember seeing those ones, man.
They just feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I bet. I don't own a pair of LeBrons.
Really?
I don't own a pair of them. No.
You
but
bought
I was
me a
just
pair.
at I did.
Yeah.
I forgot about those ones.
Yeah.
The Laker colors,
Yeah,
right?
I still wear them on the court.
Yeah. I just saw a pair of like the LeBron Witness. They got some dope colorways in
Yes,
that.
they do.
I just saw them over at Kicks, and they were like 80 or 90
$80. Yes.
I was like, yo,
I see them at Shoe
I'm about to
Carnival,
cop a
bro.
pair of these for the court. Because, some of mine, some of my basketball sneakers starting to lose some tread. So I'm like looking, and I was like, yo, I might need to try a pair of these on, bro.
Yeah.
Like some dope colors, and the price was
Right.
couldn't be beat,
Right.
Yes.
Way to go, LeBron. For those dads out there ain't trying to spend an arm and a leg and some good looking sneakers.
Yes. I'm saying I love that like some of these dudes like Kyrie, LeBron can have multiple lines within their signature shoes where it's like, you have LeBron's main line that are going to be like $200, but then you got like the Witness line that, is under $100.
Yeah.
So it's like you can get your kid a pair of them and he can outgrow them in 3 months and you're not out $250 for a pair you just bought. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. But I shared this story with you, but I want to share it for our listeners because I think it's gonna start what we're gonna talk about for this episode. Is I think I was just Jace that day. I think the baby might have been home with mom that day or something. But I took Jace out somewhere. I don't want to say where it is on here, but I took him out. It's like a kid family place, and he's playing. We're having a great day, and he's playing at this thing, and there's a bunch of balls around, and he gets a ball, and he's like, was waiting a minute to get it. And,
How old is
he's
Jace
only 2
again?
years old. He's almost
2 years old.
He's
okay.
2. He's almost 3. Almost 3. So and this was maybe a month ago or so now. But he's 2 years old. This like kid that was like maybe 8, 9, 10 years old just came over to him all of a sudden and like ripped the ball away from his hands. Like didn't take it from him, like ripped it out of his hands. Like Jace tried holding on and the kid just like yanked it from him.
Wow.
And I'm standing a couple feet behind him. And like, last summer was the first time we like started taking him to playgrounds and stuff. Like he was big enough to like do the things. And taking him to playgrounds, I started seeing a little bit of like bullying and stuff. Which is like, it hurts your heart as a dad to see that for the first time, to like witness that. Cause you're like, my baby's so perfect and innocent. Who could be mean to him, But this kid, like, man, the way that this kid snatched it from him was like one of the cruelest things I've seen done to my kid, And so it's like, it kind of upset me, disappointed me. Like I wasn't mad, but like I was sad, I was upset, I was disappointed. And so I started looking around trying to find his parent or something. And I look over and I see who's definitely his mom, the kid's mom. And she's just kind of like looking over at me, shrugging her shoulders. And she just looks me dead in the eye and goes, "That's what happens." And shrugs her shoulders. And like, there was like a light switch in me that like, I went from just sad to angry, like immediately. Right. Cause it's like, all right, kids are going to do what they're going to do. Right. Like, but like, dude, you see your kid do that to a kid that's like a quarter of his size, you correct it. Like you should correct that if you're the parent. Right. And she says that. And so like, I debated saying anything. I didn't have the restraint to bite my tongue. And so all I said was, well, I see where he gets his manners. Right. And then that flipped the switch in her. Right. And so she starts coming. She's probably like 15 feet from me. She just starts like storming towards me, yelling, finger wagging, like pointing in my face, just starts shouting at me, saying all this stuff, starts calling my kids names, right? Like names I don't want to repeat on here. Right. And I just kind of turn so that she's kind of behind my shoulder and she's yelling at me. And all this happened in about like 15 seconds, this whole thing. And then her husband came over and, grabbed her and he's like, "Hey, we got to go. It's time to go." But that whole time, like she's yelling at me, a second feels like an hour. I'm debating like, okay, how do I retaliate? How do I not retaliate, but how do I respond? How do I handle this? Can I diffuse the situation now? You know, and like, thankfully, like that was the end of it. Like her husband came, grabbed her, they grabbed their kids, left. And then me and Jay went on to the next thing. But it's just like, man, as a parent,
Yeah.
like watching someone be mean to your kid is one thing. Watching their parent, like, just be a terrible human being about the situation is like awful too. You know, and you know this, like I spent so much of my childhood getting bullied, right? And so one of my biggest fears when I had kids was my kids getting bullied one day. You know, like that was a big fear of mine because you just know it's going to happen, right? And just as a parent, like, how in the world do we navigate that, right? Because I think there's a couple different angles, you know, and like I thought for so long, like, all right, what can I do to keep my kid from getting bullied? Like, how can I protect my kid from getting bullied, you know? And so just, I don't have an answer for all this, you know, I'm imperfectly trying to figure this out. And so I don't think there's anyone alive that has a perfect answer for this. But man, I just thought it would be helpful to just kind of dialogue about this because it is an issue, man. And it's becoming even more of an issue with the internet and social media. Because when I was a kid, man, I could leave school and go home and I left the bullying. You know, now it's like there's group text, there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's Snapchat, there's all these apps that it's like, man, like the cyberbullying extends beyond the school walls now, right? And so, man, like how do we as parents navigate that as just a part of our culture? Like it's not going to go away, right? So... yeah, that's a loaded question, bro.
It is, man. The fact of the matter is, here's the ultimate truth, right? Our kids got to grow up and live their own lives, right?
Right.
And so I don't think we can, even how much we try, are we going to shield them from an evil and angry world? But as a father of young kids, one of the things that we got to make sure that we don't do is reciprocate that rage, right? Mm-hmm. Because of course, naturally, we want to be protective of our children. But it's an opportunity for teaching, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you want to show your child like, yo, that's not the way to conduct yourself. But you can't show your child that or tell your child that if you conduct yourself in that same manner in the name of trying to protect your child, right? Or standing up for your child, right? Now, it's one thing if you have to protect your child, then that's something totally different.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But if it's a scenario like over a ball, like, you know, nobody should get hurt over a ball. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's a slippery slope, right? Because I can pull out the Bible, I can preach, I can preach all the truth. The fact of the matter is, you never know what's going to happen in the heat of the moment when your child's at stake, right? Especially because you did the right thing. You look towards the parent, like, hey, as a parent, I'm looking after my child. And I'm not going to respond to your child because it's a child. So I'm going to look to you. And then when you look to the parent and the parent is just as immature as a 9-year-old, and it's just like, oh my God, what do I do now? You know what I mean?
I'm just like, yo, get your kid, man. Like, that's all I ask. Like, I don't ask your kids to be like perfect little citizens, but like, man, when they do something like that, like, handle it, you know? And the fact of the matter is it's like, all right, right then and there, like I was there to protect Jace. Like I'm not going to go steal the ball back from the 9-year-old, but like I was there to, you know, protect him, take care of him. I'm not always going to be right there by his side, You know, I will always have his back. I'm not always going to be physically right next to him when something happens either.
Yeah.
You know? And so, you know, I think like, man, the first year or so of being a dad, I think, you know, I had such a fear of this that like my thought pattern was like, all right, what do I have to do to raise my kid so he doesn't get bullied? Like if he's cool enough, if he's athletic enough, if he's, you know, this or that, like if I buy him the coolest sneakers, you know, like, and it sounds silly and ridiculous, but it's like, that was my thought pattern. And then, man, like once he hit 2 and he started actually interacting with other kids more, you know, and he was born like right before COVID. So it's like, man, he didn't even know other humans existed until he was like 6 months old.
Yeah.
But, you know, once I saw him interacting, I was like, yo, trying to raise my son in a way that to make sure he won't get bullied is just futile because you can't control the actions of other kids. You can't control other people and what they're going to do. Right? So it's like you can't raise your kid to be in such a way that he ain't going to get bullied. You know? You can teach him how to respond to it. Yeah. And I think even more importantly, like you can raise your kid to not be the bully. You know, and I think that's kind of where I started diverting some of my energy towards is, you know, trying to teach him what it means to be kind and loving and nice.
When I came up watching TV, right, and there was a character for whatever movie or show or even something that's crazy is like watching the X-Men. I think it's the movie X-Men when like they're back in time and like all the mutants were young or whatever. And you get that one girl that spit fire and she flies or whatever. And somewhere in the beginning of the movie, she was in the room with all the other young mutants in the FBI room. And then Magneto came. Well, not Magneto. It was another villain guy that came and he was trying to recruit and she went on to the bad side. Right. And so she became, you know, along the movie, she eventually became a villain too. And it was just like, usually when they paint the picture of these villains or any other cartoon or show and you have a bully, right? Usually the person is hurt, right? Mm. You know, usually the person is hurt. And I thought like, oh, that's corny. Like, you know what I mean? You know, and as I get older, I realized that's accurate. Like that's accurate. People who turn out to be the bullies are really just people who are insecure or broken, right? Which is also is an insecurity, right? Are insecure, and therefore they act, respond, think, or do or react, and take things out on other people. And you know what I'm saying? Because usually bullies are seeking to hurt somewhat innocent people or make the punishment of a guilty person way more than what it needs to be. You understand what I'm saying? And it's ultimately because...
Well, they're preying on people weaker because they're weaker than someone that's preying on them, you know?
Or who have preyed on them, right. Or whatever the case may be, right? And so... I've come to realize, like, yo, insecurity be having people do the most. Like, people do a lot of crazy stuff out of insecurity. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And, you know, that and jealousy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you be having some of the, you know, you watch some of the high school shows or just people you may know, you be having some of the prettiest girls be jealous of, like, other girls. Like, yo, but, like, you're gorgeous. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like you're just so insecure, and what happened, you know, and maybe dad wasn't around, or maybe like you understand what I'm saying, and they got them feeling, you know, maybe she saw the other girl kiss her dad, you know, on the way to school, and they just set something off in her. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't know how to deal with their pain, and so and they you know, insecure people talk to themselves in a negative sense, right? They talk to themselves like, well, why does she get to have that and I don't have that? She's not better than me, and nobody said she was better than you. Like, nobody said this. Like, you understand what I'm saying? You know, and I've talked to, you know, I've had some opportunities to talk to people who came at my neck, which is a term that, a bully in a sense. Now, I personally, I personally haven't gotten bullied in years, right? Because people think I'm the brute, right? And I can be. I'm kind of like Bruce Banner, right? And so it's like I don't enter the fight because I probably will win. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm relaxed. But when I found myself in hot seats or in the face of people who are intentionally coming for me, and I have the patience, and I usually do have the patience, right? But I have the patience. I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, what's good? And they get to talking, and you realize, like, yo, your issue ain't really even with me.
Yeah.
Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, you over here trying to make my life all difficult. And I used to lead this. I used to lead this ministry some years ago, and I was willingly leaving this ministry. The Lord has called me to start my own organization, and there was another person on the ministry who wanted to take over, and I did want to recruit people from the ministry where I was at. Like, I did want to, right? But that was only if they wanted to. I didn't just want to take people. That's because that's not my mentality, right? I was confident that I was leaving. Like, you understand what I'm saying? I was confident that I was, like, the Lord has called me to do something else. And my faith was saying, if the Lord called me over here, then he's going to supply people and things and finances or whatever. You know what I mean? I didn't need to bring people with me. I wasn't party gathering, if you will, right? I wasn't getting people to join me in my journey. But if they wanted to come, then, so be it. But anyway, the person who wanted to take over the ministry after I left, I think feared that half the ministry was going to leave with me. And that person went in on me in a sense that gossip, and it was just kind of like party gathering, like turning people against me in that ministry, which was funny because I'm willingly leaving. Like, all this could be yours. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, you can literally have it all. And I'm like, this person is fighting me, this person is arguing with me, this person is slandering me, and come to find out, it wasn't insecurity. They thought that although they wanted to take the ministry over, that nobody was going to be there in the ministry for them because they thought everybody was going to leave with me. And nobody came with me. You understand what I'm saying? If people no longer was a part of the ministry, that was their decision, but nobody came with me. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And I felt like that was a waste of energy and a waste of breaking up friendships for something I wasn't even.
Well, that's what insecurity will do too. Is insecurity will get you 10 steps ahead in your mind and create problems that don't even exist yet.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like responding to problems that
you created.
You haven't even heard the other person. You created it in your mind.
In your mind, right.
It's a fake thing. Like, it's not a real issue, but people will respond to it still.
Yes.
And then it ends up creating the tension when there wouldn't have even been any. And I think, like, oh man, that is such. You could see that in kids.
Yeah.
You could see that in kids, it's like, man, if a new kid comes into school and, you see this in movies, right? Like if the popular girl sees a new girl in school and she's like, oh, she's too pretty. Like, she's going to steal my popularity and my homecoming queen status. Then, like, she'll target that girl.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that girl might be like, I don't even care. Like, I just want to not be noticed, Like, I just want to make one friend on my first day at the new school, but like insecurity will get you running ahead of it. And you can see that in kids.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of that probably, if we like looked at all the insecurities among kids, a lot of it probably starts in the home.
Yes, absolutely.
And I can't say that for sure, but like, I would have to believe like a lot of that starts in the home, like you kind of alluded to it, but it's like the daddy issues thing. Among, promiscuous young women. It's like, it is a thing. It's like they're looking for love in all these different places because they didn't get it from their dad. Like their dad never taught them how a man is supposed to treat a woman.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we've talked about that on this podcast, is like, man, as a dad, you're leaving a legacy. Like, you are teaching your boys how to be men, and you are teaching your girls how a man's supposed to treat them.
Yeah.
You know, but like so many of these insecurities, man, you could be traced back to the dads.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah.
And
it's so true that
saying,
hurt people hurt people.
It's like, so cliche, but it's like, it's cliche accurate. For a reason. Like, it's a truth, though.
Yo, that is so accurate. You know, understand what I'm saying? And so back to the original question, like, you know, how do you respond to that as a parent? I guess I will try my best, one for my son not to become a bully, to try to reinstore in him confidence. Like, hey, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not good at something, son, you're just not good at it. Like, you're not going to do everything. And that's fine. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And if he is good at something, like, yo, you're great at this. And you can be better if you work at it. Or God gave you a gift. Like, you understand what I'm saying? You're not better than nothing, nobody else. And then, and you need to, one that I definitely want to share with my kids is, like, you definitely want to be kind to people. I want to take my kids on missions and, you know, outreaches and things of that nature. Like, you have to be kind to people. Like, I don't care what you go back home to, whether it's good or bad. You can't, you know, you have to be, even especially when people are not kind to you. Like, you have to be kind to them. You know, you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's just how we need to work in society. Now, I got a 1-year-old who always hitting his sister, but that's going to be a work. That's going to be a work in progress.
Yeah, we working on that at home too, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like,
that's where it starts.
You're right. How to deal with your frustrations, right? So if you're upset and something's not fair, or you feel in your heart something's not fair, how do you act according to how you feel? Because your feelings are real. You really do feel that way. Well, whether or not the scenario is real, your feelings are, right? And so now, you know, I want my son to be able to healthily, if that's a word, not get the girl that somebody else got, and just kind of be like, I'll just take it on the chin, like, I'm disappointed, and just deal with disappointment well.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Not go shoot up a school or hit somebody or lie on a person, or like, you understand what I'm saying? Or being devious. Like, nah, bro, like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, yo, maybe, you know, if it's meant for you, it'll come back around. If it's not meant for you, then somebody else is. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, we as a society need to learn how to deal with disappointment. Like sincerely, right? And everything's not going to go your way. And I had to, you know, I personally, you know, I gave the illustration of being on a previous ministry, but I have tons of examples that happened to me. And what happens, my character formed, and I think I already had this, but my character formed in a sense like, all right, well, the things I do are for God. And if you want to inject yourself, you know, and if you're able to actually take this from me, then you can have it. Because I've also been in scenarios where I've saw people try to take things from me and fail. And not by my own hands. Like, I didn't defend myself. I didn't, you understand what I'm saying? I didn't plead my case. I seen them coming, and they fell flat on their face. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, you know, it built in me a character to never love anything more than I love people. And so I try not to even the guilty, right? Like, they're guilty, they're doing this to me, but not to retaliate in a way that will reciprocate the evil. You understand what I'm saying? Now, once again, that doesn't mean I'm a pushover either, right? Because I'm not. I think I made that clear earlier. But you understand what I'm saying? But it's like, okay, now, you know, and even as a grown man in his 40s, I've been in some heated scenarios while carrying my pistol. You understand what I'm saying? And I'll be honest with you, as much as I am a brute, my first thought is everybody got to get home safe. I'm not going to let my emotions take the best of me. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And so even though I'm in all of this, as long as I don't feel like I'm threatened, I'm not throwing no first punch. I'm not even going to respond ignorantly. Like I'm not going to fuel the fire at all. Like you understand what I'm saying? Now, I may walk away from that situation and people may be thinking like, oh, he's a punk, he ain't do this, that, and the third. No, I'm not a punk, I'm a man. I made sure everybody got home safe.
Right.
You understand
That's
what I'm saying?
the first, and I think like, man, so for those listening, if you haven't listened to the episode 8, Leaving a Legacy, please go listen to that one.
Yes.
What we talked about in there is, in leaving a legacy, man, leaving a legacy is what you leave inside of your kids, right?
Yes.
So it's like, man, if you strip away everything on the outside, all the sports achievements, all the money, all the sneakers, all that stuff, man, because it's like you could lose all that. Like our house could burn down, I could lose my sneaker collection. I could, tear my ACL and never play ball again. Like so many things can happen that can take away all that's on the outside. But what is at the core of who you are? What is your character? Where is your identity found? Like as followers of Jesus, like our identity is found in God, in who he says that we are as our creator, as our maker. But like, even if you're not a Christian, like where is your identity found? Like, who are you at the core? If you take away all of your accomplishments, because I think like as guys, we're like taught and indoctrinated in a way that like we are what we achieve. Like we so often are just indoctrinated with this idea that we are what we achieve. But who are you without all those achievements? Yeah. If you strip away all the money you got, all the success that you have, who are you really at the core? Because ultimately that is what you can't lose. Yeah. That's your identity. That's who you are. That's what other people cannot take away from you. And so, if we can teach our kids like, hey, who are you? Yeah. Who are you really as a part of this family? Right? With a loving dad, with a loving mom. Like, who are you? Because there's no bully that can take away, man, who you are. If you have your character, if you have your identity grounded and cemented, and if you can ingrain that and pass that legacy down into your kids, man, like they can just walk with confidence, even in the face of bullies. They can walk with confidence in knowing who they are because the bullies can't take that from them.
Now, imagine a father knowing he need to teach a child that, but not have learned that themselves.
There it is.
Right. And we could be in our 40s, 50s, and our 60s and never get to the source of, or get to be comfortable literally in our own skin without the accolades and the titles and the achievements and the yada, 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 right? And just be comfortable being Kevin and comfortable just being Anthony. You understand what I'm saying? And
because it's so weird. Like now, as someone that doesn't have a career, you know how many judge looks I get from other dudes when I say I stay home full time with my kids? Because it's like that's weird to them. Like because your identity is wrapped up in your career. And so if that's the case, like you take your career
or
away.
how to provide, right. Like, oh, your wife is taking care of you. Like, you really don't know his story. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'll bring you up in conversation, not by name, but I'm like, yo, when as a married man with kids and, I have a house and, your perspective change, right? And my wife on paper is the breadwinner. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she just is. And so, what goes on in these four walls, right, is how we operate the Washington family so we can make it through the next day, make it through the next week, and so on and so forth. And I often use your scenario as a family that does not operate like the Washingtons, but are making it and doing it well. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And so headship is not of what you can always bring to the table. It really is a leadership, right? It's a management. This is what we have. This is how we're going to get it. But I'm telling you, this is the direction we're going. You understand what I'm saying? And so, So yeah, I mean, it's an unhealthy stigma that we as men have, that they would look down on you. And I think you're doing a great job. I do. I think you're doing an awesome job.
I appreciate that, man.
You know what I mean? And that's not biased because I know you. Like, I'm not just saying nice things because you're Kev, my best friend. I'm saying, I probably wouldn't say bad things on camera, but I would tell you bad things to your face. Like, yeah.
You would.
I would tell you bad things to your face. Like, I can't believe you're doing X, Y, and Z, or not doing X, Y, and Z. Like, what in the world is going on over there? Bro. Yeah, right. I have to tell you the truth. Right. But I think you're doing great. And so, and given all your particular scenario, right? How old your kids are, who your wife is, and your journey. Only thing I would change is, y'all moved back to Pennsylvania. But even in that, I support you. You know what I'm saying? And so,
I feel
I think, because you think if everybody is different, then you got to think God is called. When I say everybody, we only talking to fathers, right? So let's talk father. If every man is different, right? And God called you to be a husband and a dad, then he called you to be the husband to that woman, the father of those children, and they belong to you. They need your leadership. However that may look in your style. You get what I'm saying? In your style, right? And so I think your style is perfect for the Giannotti household. I think the G Castle is on fleek. And I also think the Washington household is being led properly too. You understand what I'm saying? And they're being led differently, right? They're being led much differently. And so being comfortable in who God has called me to be. Oh, you best to believe I see and even hear, because for those who know, my wife is a great minister. I'm a minister, and my wife is also a minister, and she has some strengths that I don't have, and I also have strengths that she doesn't have, right? But in the makeup of our lives right now, she's getting a lot of recognition at our church, and you wouldn't believe the stuff that people were saying to me about being jealous. I'm like, I'm not jealous. Like, I never wanted a wife that was, in a sense, soft about our faith. I never wanted that. You understand what I'm saying? Because I wasn't going to be soft about my faith. You know what I mean? And so if she was going to be with me, she was going to need to hold her own. And my wife can hold her own. You understand what I'm saying? So, and so, and in fact, believe it or not,
no, go ahead, finish.
No, I'm saying, believe it or not, I'm still, as great as my wife is, I am still the spiritual head of this house. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't think that's up for debate between her and I at all. So, but I don't want to seem like that we're getting off topic, because I don't think that we are. But knowing who you are first, husbands, dads who are listening, knowing who you are. Being comfortable. If you're not comfortable with who you are, right? Make sure that discomfort is actually something that needs to change, and it's just not an insecurity. You get what I'm saying? And if it is an insecurity, then go see a doctor about that. Go talk to somebody about that. Strengthen those areas. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And if it is something that needs to be fixed, then let's work on fixing those things. And so when you're confident about who you are, then you can teach your children how to be comfortable about who they are, and you won't have to live vicariously through them, right? Making them achieve stuff because you ain't never achieved it. You understand what I'm saying? And you putting all this pressure on their life. You know what I mean? Because you're not comfortable about who you are. You understand what I'm saying? And so that starts our kids being 1, 2. Well, Corey's less than 1, right? Corey's younger than 1, so.
He's 1 in less than a month, yeah.
Yeah. So months, 1,
he's 1
2,
next month.
And I have a 6-year-old, right? And so at these ages, you understand what I'm saying? Like, even now, and then we don't want to wait till we were having a conversation. We don't want to wait till our kids to get 12. I think that's way too late. You know what I mean?
No, it starts now. It starts now, and it's not too late if your kids are 12.
Right? No,
it's not
it's
too
not
late.
too late. No.
right? No, like you could still ingrain that. And no, you didn't say that. I just want to like reiterate, like that's not when you start. You know, if your kids are 1, like start now. If your kids are 12, start now, ingraining in them who they are. And it's like, dude, you're so right. Like it starts with the dad, man. And that's like, so similar stories, man. Like there was a, my wife, she's a nurse and she was doing the travel contracts.
Yes.
For a while, right? Because there was big money in that, man. And, I was chopping it up with one dude I was playing ball with. And he's like, what's your wife do? I say, oh, she's nurse, and ask where. I say, oh, she's doing like a short-term contract. And then like asked me what I did, and I'm like, oh, well, I stay home. And he like kind of looked at me side-eyed, and he's like, well, like, how do you feel with like your wife making all that money and like you're not making anything? I was like, I feel great.
Yo, but if you pay attention to that, he told on himself. Right?
He's like, in his mind, he has to make more than his wife.
Right. Yes.
He equated money with value. Yes. And I'm like, bro, my wife making bank. I'm doing great.
Yo, you figured. I saw something on Instagram that said like, yo, he ain't a man. He's the man. He figured it out. Like,
he's the man. Like, yo, she buys me whatever sneakers I want. Like,
yes, bro.
I am great. Like, what do I gotta be mad about? I've never understood dudes that are like threatened by their wife making more money than them. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I've never understood that. And then it's like, man, every time I tell someone like, oh, I stay home, like, oh, well, when do you plan to go back to work? I don't know. I'm just staying home with them right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like when God tells me to go back to something, I'm going to go back to something. But like for now, like I'm staying home. I started this podcast. Give me something to do. Like, you know, so. Like,
and here's the fact of the matter. This is how I view your podcast, right? I'm going to tell you from my view, and I want the world to hear this, right? Do not edit this out. This is how I view your podcast.
Don't edit this.
All right? You are still a pastor. You are still a pastor, right? You're doing exactly what a pastor should be doing. Now, you're a children's pastor at home, and you're a dad pastor on this podcast. You understand what I'm saying? And so you are educating, leading, inspiring men all over who, you know, and with this digital climate, they could be painting everywhere. I'll be hanging TV listening to these podcasts, right? And you know, and you're leading these men to something that is greatly important to the world, is each and every one of their households. Because if each of these men are listening to your podcast or taking care of their household, and their household affects the world, imagine what you're doing to the world. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So so they may laugh, but I still see it like Kev is he's a full-time dad and a full-time pastor.
Yeah.
Because I see the work that you put in with the podcast off camera. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of hours that gone into it. And it's like, and here's the fact of the matter too, man, is like, my wife is the breadwinner in terms of earning dollars, right? I am still the spiritual leader of our household. Yes. I am the overall leader of our household. I handle the finances in our household, right? Like, I do the budget. I do the grocery shop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just because I'm not the one out there earning the dollars does not change who I am as the leader of this household. Like,
fathers, please listen to that comment that he just said. It does not change who he is. Go on.
It doesn't change just because I'm not the one with my name on the paycheck.
Yes.
Right? Because like in our family, like my money is her money and her money is my money. It is our money. We combined money the day we got married. And so all of the money that comes in is the Giannotti's money to manage this household. And so no, I'm not the one with the name on the paycheck. However, I am leading this household. And I am very secure in that. I have no problem telling dudes that I'm a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
And like 9 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, it's like, oh, that's cool, but it's like there's a tone to it,
Right.
where it's
So
like
look,
there's
let's
like a little
imagine
bit of judgment.
this. Let's imagine this, right? Imagine if I was a bully right now. Okay, we on a ball court. I overhear you talking to somebody else about everything you just said. That you're a stay-at-home dad. You got this little podcast popping, and your wife makes all the money. Imagine me coming over to make fun of you, to, in a sense, bully you about your decision of how you run your house. Right? Now,
Right.
would that make you feel less than a man?
Not at all.
Right.
Honestly, like if someone did that, it would make me feel sorry for them.
My point, right? And so the power of a bully only has power if you give it to him, or if you yourself already have the insecurity. So a bully.
Now, if you make fun of my jump shot, I might cry a little.
You do shoot across your body.
I am insecure about my Lonzo ball form. All right, I know I look like Lonzo out there. Like you make fun of my jump shot, I get a little upset. All right, there's insecurity. But in terms of who I am as a man, like
you can't be shaken.
Dude, I'm good with that.
You can't be shaken, and that's the answer of how to respond to a bully. Right? Is that if I am secure in who I am. I can't change your opinion of me, right? But your opinion of me doesn't change me. You get what I'm saying? I'm rock solid. You understand what I'm saying?
And here's where the rock solid comes from, is because I am doing exactly what I feel like God has called me to do in this season of my life. I feel like I am doing exactly what God has called me to do in this season of my life. So nothing nobody says can shake that. Because ultimately what God says is the number one thing.
Right.
And so, like, that's where the confidence comes from. Is like, dude, you can say whatever you want about me being a stay-at-home dad. Like, this is what God's calling me to do right now. This is what we think is best for our family. So it don't matter what you think.
Yeah, it doesn't. Right? And so with my wife being as good as she is in so many areas, right? And when I was talking about ministry, like, I'm not. First of all, I don't think I'm bad at ministry. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
nah.
I think I do my thing. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And so to watch other people, including my wife, do her thing, I'm just like, wow. And then certain things, I'm like, man, I pull her just out like, yo, like, you really had a mind to do like, what made you think of that? Like, I wouldn't have thought of that. Like, you understand? Right? Because the humility is, she has a gift, I have a gift, and gifts are given. I can't be upset if I don't have a gift. You understand what I'm saying? I can't be upset if I don't have a gift. He gives them. He gives them. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And so, for years, God has developed me for years, about, who I was and my talents and my gifts, mainly like Love the Poet, right? And that came first, and then being a poet, and then being a teacher, and then other testimonies I have. And so what I was taking for granted was just a regular life that the Lord was developing in me, thinking that everybody lived this way. I thought I was catching up, and I had traits and abilities that people weren't living up to, and so therefore I was looked up to a lot, and I was just like, and I felt small being looked up to, if that makes sense. Like, why are you looking up to me? I just got here. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And, I just write poetry. That's it. And it grew to be so much more, because I learned how to love people. I learned how to be humble. And it was like, you understand what I'm saying? And when I get accolades, the first thing I think of, like, you have no idea the struggles. Like, you understand what I mean? Like, you have no idea what it takes. Yeah. Like, you have no idea how much I wanted to fail in this area, like, or have fallen in this area. And you understand what I'm saying? So when I see somebody doing well, I lift them up. You understand what I'm saying? When I see somebody doing well, I ask if, hey, do you care to have my input? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we love each other and we're friends like you and I ain't asking you for my input. You're gonna get my input. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know?
And that is something we need to teach to our kids too,
Yes.
is to celebrate others' success, because their success does not mean your failure.
Right. Right.
Right? There is enough opportunity for people to win in this world, that just because someone else is winning does not mean that you are losing.
Mm.
Right? And it's like, man, we are all doing life, but man, we're doing it at different paces sometimes. You know? And there is nothing wrong with being at a different pace than somebody else. And so teaching our kids that it's like, man, if your friend does something great, dude, celebrate that.
Yeah, celebrate them.
You know? And like, as a man, like, if your wife does something great, celebrate that. If she gets a raise and now is making more money than you, bro, go out to dinner and celebrate her.
Yeah.
Celebrate that, man.
Yes.
Like, because that is, man, I don't think we were planning to we didn't know we were going to get here with this, but I think this is like so key to this bullying thing is, man, as a man, being secure in who you are, in your character, in your identity, is the only way to pass that down to your kids, to pass that legacy down so that they can be secure in who they are, that nothing anybody does to them is going to shake them. Like,
right.
Yeah, you know what? They may get some literal bumps and bruises along the way, but don't let that change who they are
right.
at their core.
Now, because you know what's so great about kids is that they grow up. They should anyway. They grow up with what we call in the Baptist church an amen corner. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I have a group of people that's on my side. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So you ever see a kid, you know, play a sport or do whatever they doing, and they look in the audience just to see that parent? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Right. Because I have an amen corner. You understand what I'm saying? And if I say, like, man, you did awesome, we were working on that jump shot and da-da-da-da-da, and you don't shoot it like Uncle Kev, you so good, bro. Like, yeah. And then, you know what I mean? And so he's going to
see, now my insecurity coming out.
Right. And so he's going to like, his value is in his amen corner. His value is in his father. His value is in his family. Like, you understand? My son, the youngest in his house, he's going to look up to an older sister, a mom, and a dad. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And he's going to grow, and he's going to be he's going to find something. He's going to watch his sister be great at something. He's going to watch his mom be great at something. He's going to see his dad be great at something. And then as he get older, he's going to be 3, 4, 5 years old. He's going to be like, oh, I got a thing too. Right? And I watch my sister be great, my dad be great, my mom be great, my mom come home with stories and all this and all that. My dad come home with all his money because he's good at da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, we go to recitals for my sister, and then here's the thing that I'm doing, right? And guess what? He's going to expect all three of us to be in that corner cheering him on.
Cheering him, yo.
And we should.
Bro, this was just happening today. Just happening today with my kids. So Corey just started walking, like, in the last week. Right. And so it's like, man, he's getting up, he's practicing, he's still like a little shaky on it, but like, man, he's taking steps. And this morning we were sitting right here in the dining room, and Corey gets up and he starts walking towards me, right? Like across the whole room, like probably like 10, 15 feet. And he's just going, and I'm like, go Corey, go Corey. And Jace was sitting on the chair eating his breakfast, and he starts joining in. He's like, go Corey, go Corey. Go. And like, man, me and Jace were cheering Corey on together.
Yeah.
Like, as Corey's walking, like, Corey's just beaming, dude. Like, he's just like, yeah, I'm the man.
He's like, yeah, I'm one of y'all now. A couple hours later, with y'all.
Yeah, and then a couple hours later, we're all in the playroom. We're playing basketball on the little Tykes basketball hoop. Me and Jace are like slam dunking buckets. And then like every time Jace got a bucket, I'm like, yeah, Jace. And then Corey starts clapping along.
Yes.
Corey sees it. He wasn't clapping for me. Probably because of my jump shot. But he sees his brother. He sees this brother going and slam dunking, and Corey's like, ah! Like, but it's like, man, it's that idea of like the amen corner. Like,
yes,
bro, like the whole family celebrating. Like, yo, you did something great today.
Yeah.
You did something dope today. Like, let's celebrate that together.
Now imagine a kid that doesn't grow up with an amen corner and desires one. Instant insecurity.
becomes a bully.
Yeah. Or,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Or, on the opposite end. You understand what I'm saying? Or extremely
Mm.
insecure and let go of their dreams and don't try anything and just gives
Yeah.
up on life.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Um, and so does it matter that dad comes home? Yes. Does it matter
Yeah.
that mom and dad
Absolutely.
work out their issues? Yes. Does it matter to go to couples therapy? Yes. Because if you shatter this, you shatter
Mm-hmm.
him. You shatter little her. You understand what I'm saying? Like my son,
Yep.
it's weird. My son has a life. Two things, I'm trying to think. Two things that he's really geared to is his school and home. I drop him off at school. I literally, like right now, like he's in a different car seat. We used to have one of those car seats that turned into the stroller type thing. So now, before we would like wheel him in. But now I don't have that no more. So I have a regular car seat and I pick him up. And so when I get into the daycare and I sit him down, he doesn't turn back to me like, come pick me up. I put him down and, and he shoots off because that's his
Mm.
territory. Like, you understand what I'm saying? But at
Yep.
home too, at home he's fully confident. Like, yo, as big as my house is, like it belongs to him. Like he's fully
Yeah.
confident. Like this is ours. This is mine. Like you understand what I'm saying? And if and like it's like the natural instinct of belonging has set in for that
Yeah.
little boy. Like you understand what I'm saying?
It's what every human desires, man.
It is.
Is
It
to
is.
belong. Like above anything else, like we desire to belong. And the sad reality is not everyone feels like they belong in their own home. And so his dad's like, man, we need to foster that. Like we need to build that up. Like so our kids know that they belong and that they belong in something that you're proud to be in.
Yeah.
And like it starts with the dad.
Yeah.
It really, really does. It starts with the man of the household and whatever your religious belief, like background, like God created men to lead the home. He did. And that is our role. And, if we don't do it, the mom will step up and do it the majority of the time,
Yeah.
But like, man, there's something different when the dad leads in that. And that's not to take anything away from moms, man. It's like they have a role to play as well. That's just as important.
Right.
It's just as important.
And
it's just different.
And it definitely is important to understand, like sometimes, because this is me at times too, that providing means to not be in the house a lot, right? And so you miss a lot of things. I understand that too. And one of the things my wife likes to remind me on, and she's right, not all money is good money, right? You want to make sure that you're present. Right. So fathers, please, I get it, bro. Like I get it as a man that has a full-time job and I'm an entrepreneur. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine just working off our regular salaries, but like we'd be broke and we make pretty good money, but kids are expensive and scenarios are expensive. And so the entrepreneurship really is keeping us comfortable. You understand what I'm saying? Like, my family's keeping me broke, but we're comfortable. And so I get it. I get going out. I get being a provider. Putting your hands to the plow. But if you can get off early and tuck your kids in and not work that Saturday and go to their game or whatever the case may be, like they also need you to be present just as much as they need you to put food in their mouths and all that. And I think they're all important, but if you can sacrifice some for the other, I think that'd be good too, fathers.
And there is a certain threshold of quantity of time spent, but the studies indicate that the quality of the time you spend is more important than the quantity.
Yeah.
And so when you are with your kids, being fully present with them, setting your phone down on the charger, not scrolling Instagram, like not being distracted by whatever it might be, but like being fully engaged and present with your kids when you have the chance to be.
Yeah.
is so crucial, especially if you're out providing someone. You know, it's like, I know you're out the house all the time, taking these jobs and stuff. Like, so it's like, man, I'm on the opposite end. Like, I'm like, yo, I need a break from these kids sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know,
right,
I'm with
right.
them 24/7. Like, I need to get out the house, do something. But like, man, spending that quality time, making the most of the time that you have. And so, man, if I can kind of recap this, man, I feel like we talked very little about
this
bullying,
conversation definitely
but like,
ain't over.
It's
this conversation definitely
dude,
ain't over.
we need a part 2 of this. But like, man, I think it was so rich and so powerful because, man, like, how do you respond to bullies? Like, number one, you can't stop bullies, like, because you can't control another person's actions. That is the definition of bullying if you're trying to control someone else's actions. So it's like, you can't control what someone else is going to do, but you can control knowing who you are.
Yes.
And you can
the same, right?
teach your kids, passing down that legacy. Please, if you haven't, listen to episode 8, Leaving a Legacy, because it's like, man, we talked about this heavy, but like, man, being secure in who you are as a man, as the leader of your household, so that you can teach your kids to be secure in their character, in their identity, and who they are. Man, because no one can shake that. If you're secure in who you are, no one can shake that.
Yeah, no bully in the world. A couple things. I know we're wrapping up, but some households, the father is the bully, right? And so you'll get a lot of kids who are reacting to fathers who don't know how to control their anger, fathers that drink too much and they do things when they drink. Your kids are doing a lot of stuff in public or in school, mainly school, because that's where they spend most of their time at, right? To other people or to girls, or girls doing it to guys, or whatever the case may be, solely because that's what you're teaching them. And, and the bully is not at the playground. It's not on a ball court. It's not at school. It's not even on the internet. It's the person that should be teaching and leading them. So if that's you, we still love you. Please reach out for some help, but understand that your actions are destroying your family. There's a saying that the tendency of the parent becomes a trait of the child, right? And children they catch more than what you teach them. You might teach them not to curse, but if you curse around them, you understand what I'm saying?
More is caught than taught.
Right. You know what I mean? And so, nobody's going to get it all together. I'm darn sure not going to get it. Like, I'm not even expecting for me to have it all together, being a perfect dad, but there are things that I can avoid injecting into my children's lives. And I want to be intentional about that. And, we all should be intentional about, like, okay, cool, I'm not going to be perfect, but my child does not need to witness this. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And, sometimes, I know we were talking about security, insecurity, and all that, but sometimes, you might get to a point where it may become self-defense, right? And then, even in trying to protect your child, you can still damage your child if he or she is too young to watch their father defend them. Because to the child, it's still like a fight. Like, you understand what I'm saying? That your child needs to witness this. You know what I mean? So, wisdom needs to be applied in so much. Children are not ready for everything, right? Do you really need to argue with your wife in front of your kids? Like, do that really need to happen right in there? So, a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff, man, a lot of stuff, and I'm definitely looking forward to coming back to try to piggyback more off of, because I know, it always happens after we finish an episode and we think later, like, oh my God, we should have said, you should have, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And a lot of this stuff is audio, but this is also on YouTube, and so I want to encourage fathers who are looking at this to make comments on the YouTube page. We would love to hear from you. We would love to either hear your input on something that we said, make sure you put the time frame and when it was said so we can go right back to it. Just in case for whatever reason I feel like you may take something I said out of context or whatever case may be. But we love to hear back from you guys. And and if you need help and you don't know who to reach out to, hit us up on the comments. We'll try to, inbox and all of that and try to lead you to somebody that can help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because your life matters to us. It matters to us solely because we need you to lead your household right so your household can lead the world right.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? So if you have a house full of 7 people, that's 7 people that you're leading that's going to affect the world in their own little way. So that's what, everybody matters to us, and therefore you matters to us the most. But yeah, I wanted to say that.
And this podcast exists to help men win in marriage and parenting.
Yes.
It was born out of a love of sneakers and the fact that I drive a minivan, but like
I drive a pickup truck. Woohoo!
That's fine. I'll take my minivan. But it's like at the core of it, man, I'm not going to create a podcast just to talk about sneakers, like, because sneakers at the end of the day aren't that important.
Right.
As much as I love them, like, they're not that important. But what men are doing to lead their families, to love their wives well, to love their kids well, that is important. And that's one of the most important things in the world to me, which is why we started this podcast. And so, man, if there is any way that we can help, whatever situation you're in, whether you feel like you're doing a good job and you're just trying to figure a couple things out, or, whether you feel like I'm sabotaging my own family, man, like, reach out to us. We will do whatever we can to help out with that. But hey, however you guys are watching, listening, we appreciate you joining in for this conversation, man. And I appreciate you joining this, bro.
This has been for having me.
So rich and so great. Hey, leave us a thumbs up, a 5-star review, leave a comment, review. We really appreciate that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, add it as a favorite on however you listen to your podcast. Follow on Instagram at Kicks and Minivans. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of your family. Thanks for joining Kicks and Minivans.
God bless you all.